to welcome you to the annual joint memorial service on behalf of the Toledo Bar Association, the Lucas County Bar Association, the Toledo Women's Bar Association, and the Thurgood Marshall Law Association. This is a long-standing tradition among lawyers and judges in the Toledo area. And this tradition has always been conducted as a court proceeding. Therefore, we will be conducting it that way. There will be memorial statements read by Ms. Beach and Mr. Meyer and myself. These memorial statements were not composed by us, but were composed by committees of friends and colleagues of each of the deceased members that we're honoring here today. Each committee, usually around 3 people, put these together, and so you'll get a different flavor that really fits the personalities and the background of each of the people and their friends and colleagues that put these together. So with that being said, we will begin by having the invocation for this proceeding, for this service, delivered by Mary Meadows.
O Holy One, source of strength and infinite compassion, surround us now, so that in the absence of those we remember here today, we are assured of your presence with us. Bless the memories we share, that these memories may continue to bless us in the days to come. Amen.
Thank you. We will now begin the roll for the joint memorial service. Frazier Reams, Jr., October 21st, 1929, July 20th, 2020. Admitted to the bar, June 1st, 1955. Born to parents Frazier Sr. and Crystal, Frazier Reams Jr. grew to become, among other things, a lawyer, politician, competitive sailor, and radio station owner. Frazier attended the Vilbus and Ottawa Hills high schools, after which he entered Washington and Lee University. Interrupting his studies, Frazier joined the Navy, later completing his degree in 1952. In 1955, he graduated from the University of Michigan with his JD. As a lawyer, Frazier worked as assistant counsel for the Legal Aid Society, an assistant Lucas County prosecutor, and attorney with the firm Reams, Brotherton, and Knipe. As a politician, Frazier was an Ohio State Senator from 1963 to 1966 and the Democratic candidate for governor of Ohio in 1966. He was also active in the community, serving as trustee of Bowling Green State University and on boards, including those of the Toledo Zoo and WGTE Public Media. On June 29, 1963, Frazier married his wife, Susan, who survives him. He is also survived by his children, Edward, David, John, and Molly, 12 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. Respectfully submitted, the committee. May he rest in peace. Richard A. Hamilton, February 14th, 1932, September 4th, 2020. Admitted to the bar, August 28th, 1957. Richard Hamilton, Dick to his family, friends, and colleagues, was a native Toledoan, a graduate of Scott High School and the University of Michigan for both his BA and JD degrees. He remained a lifelong U of M fan. He married Ann in 1958. She was absolutely the love of his life, and they stood by each other for 56 years until Ann died in 2015. They always saw each other as equals. Ann and Dick are survived by their 2 sons, Richard Jr. and Tom, as well as 3 grandchildren, Andrew, Sophia, and Catherine. Dick practiced law in Toledo for over 60 years. He took pride in his work, often assisting the underserved and marginalized with their legal issues. Dick was a decent man who emphasized the importance of treating people fairly. He believed that you need to treat all people with dignity and respect. He even extended this belief to Ohio State fans. He saw the importance of being fair-minded and being open to the views and opinions of others, although again, Dick may have developed some limitation on his fair-mindedness when it came to U of M sporting events. Both Dick and Ann were avid sailors and longtime members of the North Cape Yacht Club in LaSalle, Michigan. Dick played an integral role in establishing the jib and main fleet on Lake Erie, which served to make sailboat racing more accessible to the general public. Dick was also an Eagle Scout with Troop 29 of the First Congregational Church here in Toledo, and later served as their scoutmaster for 35 years. Dick was an honorable man who lived life on his own terms and in line with his own conscience. Respectfully submitted, the committee. May he rest in peace.
David R. Pheils Jr., February 2nd, 1934, September 29th, 2020, admitted to the bar November 1974. Dave was born in Toledo to David Sr. and Selma Pheils. David was never afraid to take risks, and as a result, he fulfilled many of his dreams. As a small child, he would daydream of flying, and he often drew airplanes during school. When he was of age, he attended flight school and became a certified pilot. He was an avid flyer, ultimately buying his own plane. Dave also started his own land development company and built homes throughout Ohio. He turned his focus on energy-efficient homes. This passion culminated in the construction of an underground house where Dave lived with his family for more than 40 years until his passing. Later in life, at the age of 37, Dave began his legal career. He obtained his JD from the University of Toledo College of Law and was admitted to the bar after that. His legal career became his passion. Dave built a successful practice associating over the years with Marty Wisniewski. Dave also practiced with Dale Crandall and with Mike Portnoy. In addition to practicing law, Dave became a peace officer working for the Village of Clay Center Police Department. Dave is survived by his wife Joanne, sons John and Eric, granddaughters Anna Julia and Veronica, and sister-in-law Nancy. Respectfully submitted, the committee. Rest in peace. Christopher James Hensien, April 16th, 1952, October 11th, 2020, admitted to the bar November 2003. Chris Hensien was one of 7 children born to Dorothy and Jack. Chris attended Christ the King Grade School, where he made lifelong friends, and then St. Francis de Sales High School, where he was a talented and fiercely competitive diver. After his high school graduation, Chris attended and received a bachelor's degree in psychology from The Ohio State University in 1974. Chris continued his educational endeavors and in 1975 earned an MBA from the American Graduate School of International Management in Glendale, Arizona. In the late 70s, Chris joined the family business, the Toledo Florist Exchange. After his father suffered a serious illness in 1984, Chris and his brother Mike took over and grew the business, serving clients across Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan. When Chris was in his 20s, he attended law school for a short time. A few decades later, during the course of his co-ownership in the business, he was determined to pursue his interest in law and enrolled at the University of Toledo College of Law. In 2003, Chris graduated magna cum laude with his law degree. He began practicing with Kevin J. Kenny and Associates of Sylvania. He focused on business formation, stock and asset sales, succession planning, real estate law, as well as probate and estate planning. He had the good fortune to marry his soulmate and partner, Boo Anderson Hensien, in September 1985. That good fortune was further extended by the arrival of his daughter, Molly. Chris relished being a father and watching Molly grow, become an adult, marry, and make him a grandfather. Chris was described by friends as caring, someone who always had your back, classy, calm, an honorable man, and a fair counselor. His listening skills, humor, kindness, and sincerity were the hallmarks that made him loved by all that met him. Chris loved everything outdoors and all sorts of sports. He preferred family gatherings as opposed to black tie events and loved family more than anything. Chris served on the St. Ursula Academy Board of Trustees and on the board of the Sylvania Country Club. He was a member of All Saints Church in Rossford. Chris is survived by his wife, Boo, daughter Molly, her husband, Nick, and his grandson, Monroe Christopher. He's also survived by siblings Jan, Beth, Mary, Barb, Mike, and Mark. Respectfully submitted, the committee. Rest in peace.
Jack J. Brady, born November 26, 1958, died October 25th, 2020, admitted to the bar in October 1984. Jack Brady passed away at the Cleveland Clinic way too soon, as he had way too many weather forecasts to tell. Unbeknownst to most, besides law, Jack loved weather and could forecast better than any local meteorologist. Jack graduated from the University of Toledo with his BBA in 1980 and the College of Law in 1993. Jack was a man that deeply loved his wife and family and was very loyal to his friends. He was also totally dedicated to his law practice and doing what was best for his clients. He believed in our justice system and even carried a copy of the Constitution in his briefcase and the fair adjudication of the law. Jack was a larger-than-life personality and always enjoyed life to the fullest. Even strangers were drawn to him. His wry sense of humor was legendary. His competitiveness was always present, from early sports to the courtroom, and his remarkable intellect was always on display. Jack was a man of many interests, as well as a man of many skills, most self-taught. Whether it was cooking, skiing, finding the best suit, cigar, or anything that piqued his interest, Jack was on it, researching to be the most knowledgeable he possibly could be. He was a man of courage and conviction. Whether you were a client that was in trouble or a friend, you wanted Jack Brady standing next to you. Jack was truly unique. Anyone who truly knew Jack knew just how intelligent, special, and fun he was. Jack was the quintessential lawyer and man. Jack is survived by his wife and soulmate, Lori, 3 children, 2 stepchildren, and 3 grandchildren. Respectfully submitted, the committee. May he rest in peace. James W. Proctor, born June 13, 1928, died November 10, 2020, admitted to the bar in March of 1956. James W. Proctor was a Toledo lawyer for over 60 years. He was a graduate of DePhilbus High School, the University of Toledo, and in 1955 received a Juris Doctor with Order of the Coif degree from the Ohio State University Law School. He had been an assistant law director for the city of Toledo, secretary and chairman of the Toledo Airport Commission, a member of the Aviation Committee of the Toledo-Lucas County Port Authority, and the Mayor's Downtown Toledo Committee. He was active in local, state, and national politics and was a delegate to the 1968 Democratic National Convention. He was a longtime officer and member of the board of directors of the Toledo Bar Association and president of its bowling league. He was a member of the Toledo Club since 1962 and was an official state cooker for 40 years, a trustee of the Toledo Artists Club, a life member of the Toledo Sylvania Elks Lodge, where he was honored as Elk of the Year in 2000, and a past member of the Toledo Club, Toledo Yacht Club, and Valleywood and Heather Downs Country Clubs. He was drafted in 1950 and served 3 years active duty in the Army during the Korean War, in the Army Reserves for several years, and retired as a major. He was a real estate developer and involved in building over 500 houses, apartments, and condominiums in the Toledo area. He is survived by many nieces, nephews, and cousins. Respectfully submitted, the committee. May he rest in peace.
Judge James E. Barber, May 16, 1946, November 24, 2020. Admitted to the bar November 3, 1973. The Honorable James E. Barber passed away at the age of 74. He was a man with an unparalleled devotion to his family and to public service. Born in Wauseon, he was the son of John and Elaine Barber. After graduating Wauseon High School in 1964, he attended Northwestern University. As anyone who knew Judge Barber could tell you, he was an avid Wildcat fan. In 1968, he graduated Northwestern, and he and Sandy began their 52-year marriage. After college, Judge Barber decided to follow the family tradition of law careers set forth by his father, grandfather, and great uncle. He went on to attend law school at the University of Toledo, but was drafted into the U.S. Army during his first year. Following his service, he re-entered law school, ultimately graduating in 1973 and beginning his 43-plus year legal career. It is hard to overstate the contributions to the court and legal community he made over the course of his career as an attorney and judge. While he was renowned for his intellect, it was his compassion and integrity on the bench that defined him as a judge and a man. In his own words, Judge Barber once noted that, quote, "I address each person as a person I respect, as a child of God." For anyone who encountered him, from community members to colleagues to lawyers, and most significantly, the parties that appeared before him, this was well evident. Judge Barber not only understood and respected the law, he understood and respected people. His love of law, love of people, and impeccable character were foundational reasons the people of Fulton County elected him and kept him as their judge for 30 years, making him the longest serving judge in the history of the Fulton County Common Pleas Court. Outside of the courthouse, he devoted his personal time to serving his community. Jim was a U.S. Army veteran and a longtime member of American Legion Post 265. He was an Eagle Scout and actively involved with the Boy Scouts of America. He was a 33rd degree Mason and served as a member of Lodge 349 for 47 years. On Sundays, he attended Christ United Methodist Church, where he taught Sunday school and sang in the choir. At his retirement, Judge Barber noted that he considered it an honor to have been able to serve the citizens of Fulton County. It is certainly also the case that the citizens of Fulton County considered it a privilege to have him as their judge and fellow community member. Judge Barber is survived by his wife, Sandy, his daughter, Caroline, sons Matthew and Joel, as well as 4 grandchildren. Respectfully submitted, the committee. May he rest in peace. William R. Lindsley, Jr., July 29th, 1949, December 1st, 2020. Admitted to the bar, November 1st, 1976. Bill was born in Philadelphia to William Lindsley Sr. and Catherine McBride Lindsley. Bill graduated from Sylvania High School in 1967. He attended the University of Toledo, where he pledged Alpha Sigma Phi. He attained a bachelor's degree in political science. Bill obtained his Juris Doctor from the University of Toledo College of Law and was admitted to practice law in Ohio in 1976. Practicing law was not a job for Bill, it was his calling. Bill had an ability to understand and read people. Coupled with a razor-sharp wit and acute knowledge of the law, Bill produced a rich and storied history of success in the courtroom. His legal skills took him beyond Toledo and across the country and around the world, including Los Angeles, Seattle, and Beirut. Bill loved to tell stories and to share his knowledge. He enjoyed talking of his travels abroad. He had a vast knowledge of music and books. He liked to talk about food, politics, and sports. He wanted people to share in the experience of his world travels and the places he loved, such as Rio de Janeiro, Italy, and Thailand. An avid softball player, Bill could always be found on the diamond on many summer nights. Bill is survived by his former wife, Catherine Lindsley, son, Patrick Lindsley, daughters, Ashley Lindsley and Aaron Lindsley, former wife, Peggy Lindsley, sister, Patricia Meehan, brothers, Jack Lindsley, Tom Lindsley, Dennis Lindsley, Joe Lindsley, and numerous cousins, nieces, and nephews. He was preceded in death by parents William R. Lindsley Sr. and Catherine McBride Lindsley. Bill was particularly fond of a quote from General George S. Patton: "It is foolish and wrong to mourn the men who died. Rather, we should thank God that such men lived." Respectfully submitted, the committee. May he rest in peace.
Arthur Franklin Raker, March 29th, 1936, December 13th, 2020, admitted to the bar, July 1962. Arthur Franklin Raker, a longtime Toledo lawyer, was born in Toledo and later graduated from Scott High School in 1954. Art furthered his education at the University of Toledo, where he graduated from the College of Business in 1959 and the College of Law in 1962. He was a longtime member of the Lucas County and Toledo Bar Associations. After his admission to the bar, he joined the law firm of Moan and Andrews, later Moan and Raker, where he spent his entire legal career. Art specialized in insurance defense law and was always very well prepared whenever he made a court appearance. His measured and deliberate style was very effective in the courtroom. On November 28, 1964, in Oregon, Ohio, Art married Elizabeth Jane, who survives. Their union of 56 years was blessed with 2 children, John and Nancy Anna. Also surviving is his granddaughter, Sarah Grace. Art had many interests in addition to the practice of law, including all things outdoors. He liked gardening and was a former member of the Men's Garden Club of Toledo. He also enjoyed fly fishing and sailing. Art served as president of the University of Toledo Downtown Coaches Association, commander of the Toledo Power Squadron, and treasurer of the North Branch Boys Fly Fishing Club. He was also a member of Jolly Roger and Sandusky Sailing Clubs, Perrysburg Boat Club, Belmont Country Club, Toledo Old Newsboys, Amelia National Country Club, and University of Toledo Golden Alumni Society. After Art retired from the practice of law and Betty retired as a professor at the University of Findlay, they moved from Perrysburg to Amelia Island, Florida, where he spent his final years. Respectfully submitted, the committee. Rest in peace. Fred E. Henning, April 8th, 1940, December 16th, 2020, admitted to the bar, May 1966. A lifelong athlete, Fred was born to Wilma and Frederick Henning in Toledo. He attended Trinity Lutheran Grade School and DeVilbiss High School. Fred received his bachelor's degree from the University of Toledo and his JD from the Ohio State University College of Law. A 50-year member of the Ohio State Bar Association, Fred practiced law at different offices, including Duffy and Henning, where he practiced with his father-in-law, Legal Associates, where he commiserated with Jude Aubrey, and then with Greg Arnold at Greg Arnold and Associates. He served as Executive Vice President and General Counsel of First Federal Savings and Loan Association, where he was a member on their board of directors. During this time, he practiced with Greg Sova. He also served as an associate judge and assistant prosecutor in Sylvania Municipal Court. Although Fred's practice was in civil litigation and banking law, he also taught criminal law at the University of Toledo. As a quarterback, Fred led the 1957 DeVilbiss Tigers to an undefeated season and a City League championship. He was honored to be included in the DeVilbiss Hall of Fame. After 1 year on a football scholarship at the University of Nebraska, Fred took his football prowess to the Glass Bowl, becoming a member of the Toledo Rockets. Fred stayed active in athletics, participating in a number of softball leagues, playing in handball championships, and chasing the white ball for many years on the golf course. He also shared his skills with coaching his children's teams. Fred believed that service to others was a part of everyday life. He served for over 25 years on the Glenwood Lutheran Church Council, leading the group with many terms as president and as finance chair. He led Lutheran Social Services Board of Trustees, the University of Toledo Board of Trustees Alumni Foundation, Downtown Coaches, and Sigma Alpha Epsilon Fraternity. He volunteered many years with the Rotary Club of Toledo and Old Newsboys. Fred is survived by his wife Sharon, daughter Karen, and Fred III. He was thrilled to watch his 6 grandchildren grow and thrive, attending many athletic events and performances. Audrey, Brendan, Will, Sophie, Jackson, and Charlotte all adored their papa. A quiet man with a fierce thirst for competition, Fred will be missed by all. Respectfully submitted, the committee. Rest in peace.
Charles E. Racine, born September 8th, 1937, died December 28th, 2020, admitted to the bar October 1967. Chuck was an ROTC graduate from DePaul University in 1959, received his officer commission and served the U.S. Air Force for 4 years in France. He enrolled in law school at the University of Toledo after leaving active duty. He maintained his connection to the military through the National Guard unit in Toledo and always provided JAG services and counsel when requested. Chuck went to work at First National Bank of Toledo after law school and was in the trust department there for several years before going into private practice. He shared offices with Dick Chase downtown and out on Reynolds Road, and then opened a new office at Liberty Square on Holland, Sylvania, where he practiced with Greg Breyer and Larry Cacamuccio for many years. He retired from the practice of law in 2008 and relocated his home to Gallatin, Tennessee, both for the weather and the golf. Chuck was involved in prison ministry both here and in Tennessee. He did a lot of pro bono legal work in Tennessee and continued to work hard for his Lord and Savior Jesus with his prison ministry and many activities. He did love the game of golf. He participated in many of the bar golf outings and with the Estate Planning Council golf outing. The vault cover for his casket was his picture on it and an illustration of the 13th hole, part of Amen Corner at Augusta National Golf Course on the top in full color. How appropriate. Chuck was a true gentleman in every sense of the word. He lived and practiced in that manner with deep faith and always being of service to his Lord, his family, and the clients and attorneys he worked for and with. He was a humble Christian who always strived to help family and clients to the best of his ability. He was really a wonderful person. He's survived by his wife, Joyce, of Gallatin, Tennessee, 2 sons and 4 grandchildren. Respectfully submitted the committee. May he rest in peace. Thomas E. Weisenburger, born May 27, 1936, died December 31st, 2020, admitted to the bar in May of 1962. Tom was born in Toledo, the son of Robert and Mary Francis Weisenburger. Tom graduated from Central Catholic High School in 1954. He attended college at the University of Detroit and graduated from law school at Santa Clara University. He was admitted to the Ohio Bar in 1962. Tom began practicing law in 1964 and continued into practice to the day of his death. In addition to his active law practice, Tom was involved in many charitable and religious organizations, including past president of Toledo Council of Catholic Youth, Sarah Club of Toledo, and the Old Newsboys. He was a 4th degree Knight of Columbus, and he was on the Institutional Advancement Committee of the board at Central Catholic. He was a tremendously altruistic man who was charitable with both individuals and organizations that needed assistance. Tom had many interests outside the law, including travel, bird watching, skiing, and fishing. However, Tom's most cherished activity was the time he spent with his children and grandchildren. He attended nearly every sporting event involving his 21 grandchildren. He organized an annual family ski trip with his kids and grandkids and regularly organized large family vacations. Tom was very religious and he loved his Catholic faith. He attended Mass on a daily basis. He made Ignatius retreats annually to Manresa Jesuit Retreat House for 57 years. He was an active member of St. Joseph Catholic Parish in Maumee. He shared his devotion and faith with those around him and particularly with his family. If you were ever greeted by Tom, you would know he was truly blessed, anointed, and wonderful. Tom was also a devoted fan of the Browns and Indians, although his presence in the dog pound is hotly disputed. Tom is survived by his wife, Sandy, 6 children and 21 grandchildren. Respectfully submitted the committee. May he rest in peace.
Joseph Weisberg, September 3rd, 1941, January 4th, 2021. Admitted to the bar, November 1st, 1967. Joe, AKA the Snake, was an unforgettable presence straight out of a Damon Runyon short story, the source for the musical Guys and Dolls. Jolly, rough-talking, and generous, he was beloved. Joe passed away just a month after he lost the love of his life, Beatrice Ryan. Joe's parents were Ben Tipsy Weisberg and Hortense Weisberg. Joe is survived by his brother, Samuel Weisberg, his sister, Joni Weisberg, niece, Dara Moore, and two nephews, Steve Weisberg and Richard Weisberg. His education included Ottawa Hills High School, where he palled around with Bill Scow, and the University of Toledo for undergraduate and law school. Joe's law office colleagues included Al Canup, Bill Scow, Tom Schlachter, Marty Dow, Don Cameron, Paul Frankel, and Jim Breberman, among others. Joe had a broad-based practice, including criminal law, civil litigation, and equine law, dear to his heart, regularly appearing for hearings at the Ohio Racing Commission. Joe was well liked by all, both in good times and bad. Essentially, he was an optimist. His raucous nature and devil-may-care attitude are missed by many. Respectfully submitted, the committee. May he rest in peace. John Czarnecki, May 13th, 1940, January 9th, 2021. Admitted to the bar November 4th, 1972. This committee was given the unenviable task of memorializing a legal legend, John Czarnecki. Not only was John a brilliant lawyer, he was witty, insightful, and unrelenting in his support of the less fortunate. It was a pleasure dealing with John because aside from his legal brilliance, his sense of humor and realistic approach, he brought everything into perspective. As far as John was concerned, whether it be a CEO or a down-and-out street person, everyone was treated with the same dignity and respect. Decency was indeed his middle name. John was born in Toledo to Henry and Leona Czarnecki. He was a study in contradictions. He joined the Boy Scouts, advancing to Eagle Scout and receiving the Toledo Blades Outdoor Award. As a young man, he also ran with the neighborhood toughs and enjoyed hustling, a game of pool or poker. He put himself through Central Catholic High School by delivering pizzas. Then it was on to the University of Toledo for his undergraduate and law degrees. He attended school and supported his family by working at the DeVilbiss Company, Hertz Rent-A-Car, and Surface Combustion. In law school, John served as an articles editor of the Law Review. After graduating law school in 1972, John served as law clerk to Judge Nicholas J. Walensky, Northern District of Ohio. In September 1974, John entered private practice. John was appointed by Judge Walensky as special master to supervise reforms and to oversee the release or relocation of individuals who were subjected to widespread abuse and neglect as inmates at the Lima State Hospital for the criminally insane. John then joined the law firm of Hayward, Cooper, Straub, Walensky, and Kramer. In 1983, John argued before the Supreme Court of the United States in Marshall versus Longberger. From 1995 to 2003, John and Jerry Phillips co-counseled a class action suit, Judy versus State of Ohio BMV, that resulted in the largest verdict, $11 million, against the state for this type of case. Jerry said that most of the legal work was done by John and attorney Brad Hubble. He thinks his contribution was PR and negotiating the fee to be paid by the state. One of John's favorite clients was Billy Scott, a local bookmaker and colorful figure. At an arraignment hearing in front of Judge James Carr, John and co-counsel argued to the court that Mr. Scott should be placed on a recognizance bond or a low cash bond and be released from the jail while pending the outcome of new charges. Both attorneys assured the court that Mr. Scott would be appearing at every court appearance as scheduled. Unbeknownst to them, however, the next witness called by the federal government to object to release on bail was an FBI agent who produced 7 letters written by Mr. Scott to different countries and small islands all over the world, inquiring about their extradition policies. Needless to say, they were both shocked and dismayed, and then saddened by the fact that Mr. Scott was not released on bail. Obviously, clients do not tell you everything. And then to further confound them, their client decided to, though keeping his lawyers, cut his own deal with the government behind their backs. So sometimes even the best lawyer in America, which John clearly qualified for, was not followed. John was a recipient of many awards for his distinguished legal career, but was most proud of his Order of the Heel Award presented by the Junior Bar Association for giving unselfishly of his time and expertise in the support of the junior members of the bar. There are many senior members of the bar who also benefited from John's wise counsel. He was also a gifted mechanic and furniture maker. Most importantly, he was a good person, or as one would say in Yiddish, a mensch. He is survived by his loving wife, Sue Bedra, his daughters, Carrie Cron and Amy Gustine, and 3 grandchildren, Anna, John, and Andrew. I would not doubt for a second the happiness that his family gave him, as well as the love that flowed between them. The practice of law is better because of lawyers like John Czarnecki. His final law firm, Spengler Nathanson, announced that they will miss his stoic presence and unwavering sense of fairness, decency, and humanity. We will all miss his candor, his advice, and his warm smile. Respectfully submitted, the committee. May he rest in peace.
Burton A. Kalniz, June 6th, 1939, January 11th, 2021. Admitted to the bar, November 1967. Regarding Burt, colleague Jack Linovit wrote, Burt, with Jack Gallen and Ted Iorio, formed a law firm to fight for the voiceless working man and for improved working conditions and wages. His commitment to those ideals grew, as did the firm's successes. Burt expanded the firm's services to address almost all needs of its union member clients, from house closings to personal injury claims. Kids and dogs were his social saviors and never failed to bring a smile to his face. He lived by the mantra, do your best, give your all, don't be satisfied with less. You can't ask for anything more from a lawyer. Partner and coworker Christine Reardon remembers, many law students and young attorneys got a strong head start in the profession from Burt, and not only from listening as he negotiated agreements. He was generous with his time, if you didn't waste it, and with his brilliant analytical mind. Burt was no hand-holder, but you could walk into his office, unsure of how to approach an issue, and walk out with angles and arguments to explore. He embraced the successes of the young attorneys around him and kept his admiration of them a secret from no one. Burt practiced law with excellent clinical detachment. He quickly and accurately sized up the legal issues, the personalities involved, and the effect of one upon the other. He read people with dead-on accuracy and had an intuitive knack for charming the disagreeable and disarming would-be obstructionists. He could be sharply funny and sharply unfunny, but the heart of his humor was an innate honesty appreciated by his many devoted clients and friends. He did not hold a grudge very well and could always find a quality to admire in a person, even, perhaps especially, the more challenging souls. Burt demonstrated optimism, generosity, and leadership in their purest forms by providing opportunities to young attorneys and by looking ahead to the future of the profession. Most importantly, Burt did all of this in service to the firm's clients who, as he often reminded us, made it possible for us to have the privilege of working in this wonderful and constantly challenging profession. Law partner and friend Ted Iorio says, he was a loyal friend. He was a skilled lawyer with a great business sense. Burt always took the time to inspire young lawyers in the office. He loved children and always encouraged them to do better in whatever task they assumed. He was always there when needed, whether assembling toys on Christmas Eve or supporting me in difficult professional situations. Burt was generous and sensitive to the needs of working people. Many of his generous acts were anonymous, and all were performed without any expectation of return. Burt capped off his unique personality with a quirky and wonderful sense of humor. He made certain that when Bertie was there, life was more fun. Burt will never be forgotten and will always be loved. Respectfully submitted, the committee. Rest in peace. Thomas G. Papps, February 16th, 1931, January 23rd, 2021, admitted to the bar August 1955. Tom Papps was born in Toledo to Christos and Maria Papastamos in 1931. He graduated from Woodward High School. He later received his bachelor's degree from Bowling Green State University, then his law degree from The Ohio State University. Tom practiced law until his retirement in 1998. Tom enjoyed being a rebel in his practice and often followed his own rules. Tom based his law practice on his interpretation of ancient Greek law and its demands for honor. As a result, he would not charge any client any amount that would make the client uncomfortable. This made Tom extremely popular with his clients. Tom was a student of the law. Among other notable cases, he is believed to be the first attorney in the United States to file and win a malpractice lawsuit in Pennsylvania on the failure to obtain informed consent. Tom also authored several books during his years of practice and after his retirement, including 8 Reasons for Divorce and Happily Ever After, the marriage test that will accurately predict if your prospective marriage will work or if your current marriage will last. He also authored several magazine articles on ancient history that were published in national journals. And he wrote poetry, with one of his works winning a national contest. Tom is survived by his wife Lottie, stepdaughter Joanne, sister Elizabeth, daughter Maria, granddaughter Shoshana, grandson Ariel, and many others. Tom passed in the presence of his wife Lottie. He was a great husband, stepfather, and friend. His family will hold his sweet memories in their hearts forever. Respectfully submitted, the committee. Rest in peace.
Robert Lewis Clark, Jr., born September 8th, 1946, died January 30th, 2021, admitted to the bar in May of 1980. Bob was born in Evanston, Illinois, to Robert Lewis Clark, Sr. and Mrs. Grace Lewis Clark. In addition to being a dutiful son to his parents, he was also a devoted brother to his sister, Mrs. Billy White. Before coming to Toledo and engaging in the practice of law, Bob served as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army in Vietnam as an intelligence advisor for the Army. After completing his military obligation, he attended the University of Pittsburgh and completed the requirements for a master's degree. Bob then worked at Washington Technical Institute and Central State University, where he was the director of instructional services. Bob attended law school at the University of Toledo and was admitted to the bar in both West Virginia and Ohio in 1980. Robert L. Clark Jr. worked as a senior prosecutor for the city of Toledo and the Lucas County Prosecutor's Office for 32 years. Bob retired from the practice of law in December of 2009. Bob, or Bobby Clark, as he was called by those who were dear to him, will be remembered for his ability to light up any room through his awe-inspiring charm, raised eyebrows, and baby-faced grin. His perfectly timed and quick-witted humor could cause anybody to laugh so hard that they were brought to tears. One of Bob's greatest strengths, both as an individual and as a litigator, was his ability to remain calm when everyone else was caught in a whirlwind. This was a product of his time serving in Vietnam. Because he had seen the worst of the worst, no judge, no defense attorney, no case, no matter how challenging, could faze him. His demeanor allowed him to argue with clarity, strength, and conviction. It made him an excellent trial attorney and a superior human being to be around. Bob will always be greatly missed by all his family and friends. Bob was preceded in death by both his parents as well as his sister. He's survived by his wife, Rita, and 3 children and 6 grandchildren, who he loved deeply. Respectfully submitted the committee. May he rest in peace. Thomas A. Meehan, born August 4th, 1934, died February 9th, 2021. Admitted to the bar May 16th, 1962. Thomas A. Meehan was born in Toledo, Ohio, to parents George and Mary Meehan. Growing up, Tom was at times an altar server, choir singer, trombone player, and carrier for the Toledo Blade in the Old West End. He attended Rosary Cathedral Grade School and Central Catholic High School, from which he graduated in 1952. Tom then earned his mechanical engineering degree from the University of Detroit, after which he worked as an engineer and attended law school in Toledo. As a lawyer, Tom worked for 20 years, first as a patent attorney and then as an international counsel and product liability counsel for Owens, Illinois. Tom continued to work in patent law both in Toledo and Detroit area after retiring from Owens, Illinois. Tom is survived by his wife, Mary Jo, 3 children, and 1 granddaughter. Respectfully submitted to the committee. May he rest in peace.
Duane Stranahan Jr., March 9th, 1930, February 25th, 2021, admitted to the bar July 1962. Duane Pat Strahan Jr. was a genuinely impactful community and corporate leader, avoiding the limelight and crediting others. During his time at Marshall M. Elhorn, he was an incisive attorney, trusted for his thoughtful, practical counsel, delivered conversationally and free of legalese, a teammate on the front line representing clients, and a selfless contributor, role model and mentor, all without self-acclaim. Pat, astute in business, served in leadership roles on boards of public and privately held companies, including Champion Spark Plug Company and the Toledo Trust Company. He was also an active principal in a number of entrepreneurial enterprises, providing guidance as well as financial support. Pat was a longtime trustee of the Stranahan Foundation, dedicated to helping individuals and groups become self-sufficient and making meaningful contributions to the improvement of society and the environment, and likewise a trustee and chairman of the Toledo Museum of Art, as well as being a leadership supporter of the United Way of Greater Toledo and other civic organizations. As he was modest and presented himself as just a regular guy, few outside his immediate sphere would know his range of interests and accomplishments, such as following his graduation from Princeton University, he earned a master's degree in French literature from Columbia University before obtaining his law degree from the University of Michigan. He was also a tennis champion of Toledo multiple times, an amateur hockey player, an avid skier, and an adventurous pilot whose exploits included flying his private plane across the Atlantic, including on one occasion needing to find Iceland for refueling on his own when his plane's radar went blank. For Pat, his station translated to an abiding sense of responsibility and caring for others and community, and an opportunity to embrace life vibrantly. Pat is fondly remembered and respected by all who knew and interacted with him. Respectfully submitted, the committee. Rest in peace. Stephan M. Gabalac, March 21st, 1934, February 27th, 2021, admitted to the bar October 1961. Stephan, or Steph, was raised in the Akron area and followed his father into the law profession. He was a graduate of South High School in Akron, Oberlin College, and the Ohio State University Law School. While at OSU, Steph was roommates with former U.S. Senator George Voinovich. Steph served his country in the United States Army and also served his hometown of Akron as assistant law director, then assistant prosecuting attorney, and later as duly elected Summit County prosecutor. Steph finished his professional career as a personal injury lawyer with Frank Cubbin and Associates. Stu Cubbin and Jim Yavorczyk recall Steph as a great comrade in the practice. During his life, Steph was an athlete, poet, scholar, an accomplished photographer, yachtsman, musician of the flamenco guitar no less, amateur chef, and avid gardener. He truly was a Renaissance man. Steph was a devoted husband to Nancy, his wife of 62 years, a loving father to his son Marco and daughter Shano, a doting grandfather to Sean and Gina, and an adventurous tour director for his younger sisters Draylene, Annie, and Mickey. He was preceded in death by his parents. Respectfully submitted, the committee. Rest in peace. Keith Mitchell, October 30th, 1950, April 2nd, 2021, Admitted to the bar, May 1987. Keith was born on October 30th, 1950. Originally hailing from Los Angeles, Keith earned his Bachelor of Arts in Economics from California State University in Northridge. After graduation, Keith stayed in academia at California State University for the next decade. In the early 80s, Keith came to Toledo and enrolled in the University of Toledo College of Law. He earned his JD in 1986. While attending law school, Keith worked full-time at Bowling Green State University, first as a counselor and recruiter in BGSU's Educational Talent Search, and later as assistant director of the College Access Programs. Keith began his legal career as a staff attorney for Advocates for Basic Legal Equality. He joined the Lucas County Prosecutor's Office in 1989. As an assistant prosecutor, Keith tried felony cases, conducted preliminary hearings, and presented cases to the Lucas County Grand Jury. Keith left the prosecutor's office in 1991 to become executive director of Toledo's Board of Community Relations. He thereafter joined Cooper, Walensky, and Kramer as an associate attorney. Keith chaired the City of Toledo Apportionment Board. The board drew boundaries for new Toledo City Council districts to conform with city charter changes. Keith also unsuccessfully ran for at-large city council seat in 1993. Keith left Cooper, Walensky, and Kramer in 1996 to start his own private practice. Keith served as an assistant public defender in the Lucas County Common Pleas Drug Court Program. Judge Ian English, who oversees the program, said Keith went above and beyond to help defendants try to rebuild their lives. Keith was involved in preserving the historic Lathrop House, a site that was a stop on the Underground Railroad. He also campaigned on a statewide basis for Democratic Party candidates, including Senator Howard Metzenbaum in the 80s. Keith also served as an officer and board member of the Thurgood Marshall Law Association. During the pandemic shutdown, Keith was honored in a Zoom ceremony by the African American Legacy Project. The AALP presented Keith with his kente cloth. A number of local community leaders paid tribute to the friend and colleague they had come to admire over the decades. Keith's family included an older brother, Arthur, his three children, Sono, Arthur IV, and Kuno, his sister, Carolyn, a younger brother, John, and his son, Gabriel, and a younger half-sister, Kelly. Keith has a daughter and two grandchildren as well. Respectfully submitted, the committee. Rest in peace.
Harland Marshall Britz, July 2nd, 1931, May 10th, 2021. Admitted to the bar, September 5th, 1956. Harland Britz was born in Toledo. He was the son and nephew of noted Toledo attorneys. A 1949 graduate of DeVilbiss High School, he earned 3 degrees from the University of Michigan, receiving a master's degree in English simultaneously with his law degree. While in Ann Arbor, he also served as an editor on the Michigan Daily. Harland practiced law with his father for a few years following graduation. In 1961, he was appointed as an assistant United States attorney for the Northern District of Ohio. One of his prized possessions was a photograph of him alongside Attorney General Bobby Kennedy. He left government service in 1963 and was a founding partner in the firm Furman, Gertner, and Britz. The firm subsequently dissolved in 1972, and Harland formed a partnership with Norm Zimmelman, which lasted 25 years. He later formed an association with Connie Zimmelman, which Judge Connie referred to as Britz and Zimmelman New and Improved. He retired from the practice in 2005, his legal career spanning more than 50 years. He subsequently moved to Ann Arbor and then to Charlotte, North Carolina. He is survived by his wife, Judy, 2 sons, Tony and Ben, and 3 grandchildren. His son, Ben, continues the Britz tradition by practicing law in Washington, D.C. In describing Harland's storied legal career, 3 distinct standards come to mind. Harland was truly a lawyer's lawyer. Each member of this committee worked alongside him and can attest to the myriad of lawyers who sought his advice on troublesome legal issues or his services when they found themselves facing legal difficulty. Harland was also a Renaissance man. After all, how many lawyers can appear in court arguing that such notable films as Deep Throat and Without a Stitch have social redeeming value, go home, change clothes, and then play the cello in a community orchestra. Finally, Harland was fearless. He was a litigator, primarily in federal court, facing challenges from various federal law enforcement agencies while defending clients against criminal charges. Such fearlessness carried over to civil proceedings, where he successfully litigated numerous civil rights and employment discrimination cases against government agencies and big business interests. His concern for the rights of minorities and the underrepresented led to long association with the American Civil Liberties Union of Northwest Ohio, where he served as chair and also general counsel for many years. He truly believed in the freedoms granted by the Bill of Rights, to the extent of once defending a street corner Nazi orator despite his own Jewish heritage. Harland was active in Democratic politics, serving as ward chair and secretary to the Central Committee of the Lucas County Democratic Party. In 1968, he served as a delegate to the tumultuous Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Harland served on the Board of Trustees for the Toledo Bar Association, the Jewish Federation of Greater Toledo, was on the executive committee of the Toledo Symphony Orchestra, and served as president of the Economic Opportunity Planning Association. Those fortunate to have known Harland were appreciative of his keen intellect, legal knowledge, dedication to all University of Michigan athletic teams, and his very dry sense of humor. He will be missed by many. He was perhaps the last of the gentlemen lawyers preceding this electronic age of lawyering, as evidenced by his fedora in cold weather and his straw hat, or even a boater in the summer. Harland Britz was one of a kind, and he will be sorely missed. Respectfully submitted, the committee. May he rest in peace. Dennis C. Dickson, February 23rd, 1946, May 21st, 2021. Admitted to the bar, November 4th, 1972. Dennis Dickson was born in Toledo to Donald and Marceline Dickson. He attended Libby High School and graduated from Bowser High School, Bowling Green State University, and earned his Juris Doctor from the University of Toledo. He served as a bailiff to Judge John Connors while attending law school and joined the firm of Finn, Manahan, Pietrkowski, and Bamman, where he did insurance defense work until 1986. He is fondly remembered for his integrity and work ethic by his defense colleagues, Cormac Delaney, Jerry Kowalski, and Mike Manahan, as well as many plaintiff lawyers, including John Lafferty. In 1986, he ventured west to Port Angeles, Washington, where he worked as a Port Angeles city attorney until his retirement. Dennis loved the outdoors, which prompted his move west. He loved people, music, cooking, books, birds, history, and a good backstory. In retirement, he held board or officer positions with Peninsula Behavioral Health, Dungeness River Audubon Center, North Olympic Land Trust, and Olympic Peninsula Audubon Society. He was also an active member of the Naval Elks 353 and Holy Trinity Lutheran Church in Port Angeles. He was a man of deep faith, kindness, trust, and integrity. He loved his family and friends deeply and will be sorely missed. He is survived by his wife, Barbara Fitzgerald of Sequim, Washington, his sister, Diana Stravik of Toledo, Ohio, 2 nephews, 2 great-nephews, 2 stepsons, 2 step-grandchildren, and that last but not least, his beloved yellow lab, Cody. Respectfully submitted, the committee. May he rest in peace. May they all rest in peace. The roll is now complete. As we do every year at this time, Ms. Beach, Mr. Meyer, and I would jointly move the Lucas County Common Pleas Court to spread these remarks that we've given upon the permanent record of the court. Thank you. Goodbye.